Hi, this is SP from Better Podcasting and the Good to Geek Podcast Network. Over on the Better Podcasting YouTube channel, I have a wonderful video on the upgrades and refurbishment I did with my studio, which was made possible by the Rodecaster Pro 2, which is right there. I was able to fit some more screens and able to improve my processes and hopefully my audio to do podcasting in the process. Right after that video, I went on vacation and I came back and I noticed this issue with the shelf over here, which is pulling away from the wall. It's only secured by a wall anchor, a screw-in wall anchor that's supposed to be 50 pounds. But on top of the shelf, I have not only that monitor behind there, but I also have a riser for a microphone arm mount. It's a Heil PL-2T that's sitting right here. I've used it since 2014, I believe. So it's been about 6 years, it's 2022 right now, that it's been able to be placed there, and it was only recently pulling away from the wall. Not quite sure why it pulled away from the wall, but it definitely started to. So I'm going to go ahead and effect a fix on it. I thought about different options on how to mount the microphone arm, and really this is the best option available to me. Can't really put it on the desk because this is a $6,000 desk from 1950. It's cherry, solid wood, and I don't want to deal with hurting it right now or putting additional holes in it, which I wouldn't want to have if I was going to buy it myself. So I'm going to go ahead and effect a repair. What I'm going to do is I'm going to brace it, these two arms that hold the shelf in, one up closer to the front here and one to the back. I'm going to brace it with a 1x4. This is an example of a 1x4. I actually have some wood scraps from previous projects in my garage, and I was able to get a hold of this one just to see if it fit. I put it in here, and it does indeed fit, which is great. So I'll be able to brace the shelf back to the wall in 3 different places. The first place will be up front here next to the door frame. There's a 2x4, and then about 16 inches, which is standard for house construction. Here, about 16 inches in is another 2x4, and then towards the end, there's another 2x4, which ends up the frame for this wall. So I'm going to have 3 different places to mount it. I'm going to have 3 different wood screws in, top, middle, bottom, and I'm going to have a total of 9 screws holding it back in. So that should brace it for a good while. I was able to find the studs using a stud finder. This is an older stud finder, a zircon stud finder. You can get newer, better ones that'll tell you where you're hitting gas pipes, or this has an electrical on it, but it'll tell you where to, and if it's red, don't. I know this because my son has one and I used it in his new apartment and it said don't, so we didn't. And I used this tape measure, just this 16-foot Lufkin tape measure. I was able to get the distance at 35 inches to find a replacement piece of wood, which I happen to have because of a project 2 years ago in the condo. I have a nice oak 1x4. So I'm able to put the 1x4 in there, and I'll cut it, and I'll do all that tomorrow. But that is the plan right now to fix this, so I don't have to worry about it pulling the whole wall down, which that would be a really nice thing to have during the middle of a recording, right? So I'm going to be able to have that done starting tomorrow, and we'll film it as it goes. Here's hoping it's gonna turn out great. See you guys soon. I got the piece of oak 1x4 out here right now. I've measured it at 34 7/8 inch, lined it up and everything, and it's ready to go. But I just want to say I did not plane this. I did not join it at all. This is literally one of the more expensive pieces of wood that you can get from a big box store like Lowe's or Home Depot or Menards. And I chose this because I just didn't want to deal with it with the project that I was working on in the rental property last year, or 2 years ago, I guess. And so just want to let you know, if you need to prep your wood a little bit more, you might have to do that. This is one of the pre-prepped pieces of wood, so I don't have to deal with it. Anyway, it's about halfway through this board. Kind of hate to break it up, but I need it. It'll make a good brace. So here we go. Measure it real quick, make sure. It's exactly where I wanted it. I don't know if this is going to fit or not, because you know, fitting wood, sometimes you got to shave it off a little bit. So we'll see. Might end up back out here to shave it off. If not, I will end up back out here to pre-drill holes for the screws that will be attaching this and bracing the shelf to the wall. So that might be the next thing you see, or I might be cutting. We'll see. Surprise! I'm back out to cut again. Cut it a little bit too long. That's fine. That means I could short it up a little bit. And I was able to mark the exact spot that I needed to cut. Drew a line here. And let's see if this works. By the way, I use this fast T-square. It's for construction jobs, but it works great on these small pieces. And got my straight line there. Was able to line it up with the saw, and it really wouldn't matter because this is at a right angle. This fence is at a right angle to the saw. So there's always some play in this. So we'll see if the complete cut, because I only measured from the top, we'll see if the complete cut worked or not. Hopefully the next thing you see will be me drilling. Say that 5 times fast. Well, surprise, it actually fit. So we're out here ready to drill holes. But at this point in time, you're probably asking yourself, hey, SP, what are you doing with a 1x4 piece of oak anyway? Well, it's a long story. I'll put some pictures up on the screen right now. But the short version of the story is I had to put some new access panels into an area for my HVAC system in the rental property that I had to renew a few years ago because I actually had to move a wall in order to fit it properly. So that meant I had to make new access panels, which you could probably see on the screen right here. Used a lot of oak and ripped it, and it worked just fine. So I also used router, made it so that nobody would get slivers on it, and stained it and everything. Might stain this, I don't know. Depends on how I feel about it at the time, probably will. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and drill some pilot holes. I've got some number 8 3-inch drywall screws. Some would say, hey, SP, probably shouldn't use a drywall screw to screw this into the wall. And I'm like, well, it is actually kind of going through some drywall. Plus, I like the black head. It'll fit in better, especially when I do stain it. See? Told you I'd probably stain it. Anyway, the size for the pilot hole really depends on the size of the screw and the type of wood. And if it's hardwood for a number 8 screw, which this is, I would probably go with a 1/8 inch bit, but since it is going into softwood, which is the pine of the 2x4 stud that's in the wall, I'm using a 3/32 bit. And I know it's going through some hardwood, but it is what it is. It's not that much hardwood, and it's a 3-inch screw. So that's what I'm going to do. So hopefully you'll see a little montage of me drilling 9 holes. By the way, did I mention that I measured exactly where the studs were, and with the stud finder, measured it, put it up there, and got it to the middle of where the stud was? That's going to be very important because there might be electrical or even some water pipes or gas pipes that are running along the edge of the 2x4, whether it's code or not. You never know what's behind a wall until you open it up. We don't want to cut out electric to any room. We don't want to puncture a pipe, which there shouldn't be in that wall, but who knows? And we sure as heck don't want to puncture a gas line. That's nasty stuff right there. Hey SP, can you use language a little bit more adult than heck? Well, I could, but gee, golly gosh, this is a family show. You might be thinking to yourself, hey SP, you're done, it's time to screw it on. Well, not yet. We've got a countersink. So let's take care of that right now. Countersink bit, or where are you? Ooh, you're a big one. I bought this countersink bit a couple of weeks ago, actually a couple of months ago, on another project, which might eventually find its way to the YouTube channel here, but here it is, countersink bit. I'll get it a little closer. All it is it's got an angled head on it so that the head of the screw can actually sink into the wood and not be above the wood. So that's all we're looking for, is a little groove in here so the screw fits in the wood. Flush. Hey, notice that car back there? Yeah, I'm going to start on that tomorrow. All the engine parts are over there, car's over there. It's not going to be done tomorrow, but if anybody wants to see it on a YouTube channel, please let me know. My build of it, it's not going to be pretty. I'm not a professional, but I've done it twice already, 3 times already, and this will be the 4th and final time, no matter if it works or not. All right. That's it for this part. I'm going to dust it off and look for some stain. I don't think I'm going to use a dust rag, do you? Garage floor is dirty over here too. Much better. I know what you're thinking. Hey, SP, work table costume change. Yeah, that's right. We got a new work table here. Put the saw away. Don't need it anymore. And don't want to get any stain on it. So what we chose here was the Mini Wax Wood Finish Red Mahogany. And we chose it because, well, did already test of it. It's on a different piece of wood, so it'll look a little different on this, but this was the test for the stand of the Zoom H6 all those years ago. Yeah, I still have these woods with the red mahogany telling me what it was because, well, I do. I still have it. So here it is. I probably should shake it up a little bit. Okay, now that I rattled my brain on that, let's get her open. Gotta go get a screwdriver. I'm back. I got the screwdriver. I hate jump cups normally, but that's going to be one. Now, for you guys out there, you happen to have old white t-shirts from the office, you know, back when most of you went to the office? They'll make great stain rags. If you've never stained before, the key is to get it nice and even. And I know a lot of you out there are saying, hey, SP, why are you staining? Why don't you just throw it up there? Well, be kind of silly to have an unstained piece of wood right next to a $6,000 desk. Oh, by the way, it is $6,000 worth of desk, even though it looks really old, because, well, had it appraised. And if you want to take it out of my house, go ahead. Just make an insurance claim on it and get a new modern desk that's much better for cable management, monitors, that sort of stuff. The desk was a departing gift from a job. I was getting rid of all their furniture to put in the newfangled furniture. And they said, did anybody want it? I said, well, not really. And well, congratulations, SP. Got yourself a new podcast desk. Thanks. I shouldn't complain all that much. It's been good so far. I did have to buy a glass top for it because I didn't want to ruin it. For those of you that are longtime listeners to Better Podcasting, you will know that Stephen and I often talk about the great floods of whatever year. Well, I just had mine about a month ago. And for those wondering about how Stephen's doing, he had his a week later. We usually have them in pairs. I told him I had the great flood of 2022, and he said, oh, cool. Hope everything's fine. I said, yeah, it is. A week later, he said, SP, sorry for giving you such a hard time. I just had my great flood of 2022. In both cases, no electronics were ruined. We're I won't say spill proof, but we're pretty spill resistant. Let me say that 5 times fast. Spill resistant, spill resistant, spill resistant, spill resistant, spill resistant. Kind of hard that last couple of times. All right. We're going to let this set an hour or two, and we're going to put it on up. I don't need to let it set any longer than that. It's just going to go up on that one spot. So maybe I will let it soak in a little bit for a few hours and just let it dry. Maybe overnight. Maybe you'll see the rest of this tomorrow. Matter of fact, yeah, let's see the rest of this tomorrow. I don't want to make a mistake. So that's it for today. We have it stained. We have it set up. I don't think I'm going to do another coat to just make it darker. I'm not going to put anything protective on it because it's just going to get banged up anyway. And it's just a piece of wood. That's going to be a brace against the wall for that one shelf for my microphone stand. And then the fourth monitor that's back there. I know a lot of you are saying, SP, what are you doing with the 4x3 monitor? Well, I got it. It still works. Might as well use it just to park stuff back there. And that's all it is, park windows back there. So I'm not a big minimizer. I like to have the windows up. So, let the air condition roll in the vehicle. No, that's the car. That's not the computer. Oh, I get so confused sometimes. Anyway, yes, I like to have windows up, so that's why the fourth monitor is there. I can use it, so I'm going to. And then eventually, above the hutch, I'm going to put an actual computer monitor, a bigger TV or something like that, so that I can actually watch TV in the room and have it visible to me if I look up, say it's an important sports game or something like that going on. We all have those things that we watch in the background as we're doing stuff. Not so much when you're editing, though. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do, and we'll see the rest of this tomorrow. Last night when I was thinking about this project, it occurred to me that I haven't shown the actual use of this stud finder or the fact that there is studs behind this wall to actually mount to. So we're just going to do a little instructional video on this and show where the studs are. That's about it. You put the stud detector up to the wall, you move it left and right, and it shows where the edge of the stud is with a little LED light. So let's see if I can get this in the shot without my big head being in the shot. So we'll start with the closest one to the door jamb here. Push the button. I'll try this one again. There we go. Studs right here. I actually don't have enough space to go all the way in, but I can tell the stud is here because the light switch is there, and light switches are always on studs. Sometimes they're actually pushed out a little bit, so you got to make sure where the edge of the stud is, where you're actually drilling. I know this because in the basement there's a stud and a light attached to the stud, but there's a little spacer in there. They needed to push it out a little bit for whatever reason. So that's the stud that's closer to here. And if I measured out to the edge, it'd be 2 3/4 inches. I'll try the middle one here. All right, there's one edge. There's the other edge. So in the middle is the middle of the stud. And I don't know if I can reach back there the way I'm laying right here. All right, after I moved, let's try the last one. I don't know if we'll be able to get this on camera or not. It is also a case where I can't go to the other edge of the stud, but I know it's there. Right there. All right, so that's the use of the stud finder, finding where the studs are. I've marked them, I measured, we're all good. This is slightly less than 16 and that's slightly less than 16, so it's a good thing I did this versus just measuring out 16 inches. All right, let me get out of here and let's get the board and put it on there right after I do an errand. It's time for the next and hopefully final step in this whole repair. I've got my brace board right here, the 1x4. It has been drying all night from the stain. It's a little bit tacky in some places, but other than that, it's good to go. And I really need to get on with this project to get on with my life and editing and stuff like that. I've also got a 1/4 inch driver here, the DeWalt 20 volt max, and a Phillips head bit on top of that. I also got some Irwin quick grip clamps in order to help keep the board up. These brackets here actually work as a good stabilizer for the board, but it won't get it up top where I want it. So that's what the clamps will be for. And hopefully this will be an easy install and everything will work right. That never happens, right? Anyway, we'll get to it right now. The first step will be placing the board into the brackets. Kind of have to slide it in. It'll fit. I've already pre-fit it several times, but you might take a little wiggling back and forth in order to get it all the way through. One of the reasons that I chose this board was it fit almost the entire space that was allotted. I'm not gluing this board up, so it doesn't have to be tight, but I wanted to make sure that it was as far up as I could possibly get. This next clamp was going to take a little bit to get to anything in there. It's kind of hard to skinny in there. Now the next step, let's make sure we get into a stud. I don't know if you saw that or not, but as I was screwing it in, the whole shelf went right back into the wall where it's supposed to be. So this is definitely going to work as long as I can get into studs behind there. I know you didn't see it that time because my body was in place, but again, the backside went up and in. This is going to be a lot of really difficult drilling with my left hand because I'm not able to get the leverage with my right hand. So not sure how much video of this you're going to be able to see. I don't know if you can tell or not, but I'm sweating a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Anyway, it's in there. Mission successful. It's yanking pretty hard right there. It's not going anywhere. So I can put the microphone back up, clean up first. Put the microphone back up because there's always a little drywall dust and probably some sawdust in there. And hit the board a few times pretty hard in the back there. So I was trying to get some leverage. I know you couldn't see any of it, but yep. It's just hard to get the camera back there. Anyway, this is done. I'll put everything back together and do a final shot. I put the microphone arm back in place, mounted on the 12-inch riser right here, working just fine. I'm going to jiggle the end of this a little bit. You can kind of see shelf flexing a little bit, but it's firmly against the wall. To be clear, the brace is not actually screwed into the shelf supports at all. It's just bracing up against it and pushing it up against the wall. The shelf itself is screwed into the wall with 50-pound drywall screw-in anchors and screws. That's it. And the brace, of course, has the 3-inch drywall screws at 3 different locations, 3 different screws right into the studs in the wall. A couple of you might be asking, hey, SP, what's with the 2 different mounts? Well, when I first started, I started with the small mount and just the arm itself, and that wasn't giving me the reach at all. So then I put an extension. It's an onstage stands extension. So there's actually even more momentum on this mic when it's all the way over in front of me. This microphone arm has never had a problem holding all of that, but it is additional force on the shelf. The shelf has worked out beautifully. The anchors, can't say anything about them. They've worked for 7 years without starting to pull out. And I don't know why they started to pull out. It might have been me skinning back and forth to do cabling for the new monitors and the Rodecaster Pro 2. So the brace is working great, and I had to go to the riser to get the additional extension in addition to the extension so I could get it all the way over to me. It's just the only way it works without going to a floor stand. I didn't want to do a floor stand because it would get in the way as I was moving back and forth the chair. It just wasn't the right solution. This is the right solution, especially as long as I've been podcasting. And you might be saying, hey, SP, why did you keep that on there? Well, I kept it on there because, well, it's screwed in there. And if I backed it out, there'd be the screw holes in there, which is why I didn't want to screw into the desk. And also, I use this Audio-Technica headphones holder, and the bottom of it, it's just this little thing, and actually fits right in there. So that's a headphones holder that's right there. I can't actually use this in its intended form because of the way that the undershelf has detail underneath it. So I can't actually slip it on as normal, but it works just fine like that. Anyway, that is my repair for my boom arm mount so that I could properly use the Rodecaster Pro 2. And if you have any questions, please leave them down below. I will be glad to answer them. If you like content like this and you want to see more of this sort of thing on the channel, go ahead and subscribe. And please, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Steven and Chris and I would really appreciate it. So see you guys next time. Bye.